What if I told you that Jimmy Johnson could fix the Cowboys draft and throw the Cleveland Browns a bone, all with one move? The Cowboys blockbuster draft trade that really just might change everything. I'm Lando. This is the Lando Show,
All right, all right, all right.
and this is Sports Below the Surface.
I am inevitable.
Right after this, we'll get into it. So with the Sports Below the Surface mantra, you guys know that I've been trying to do the best that I can to have fun with this as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft, right? Draft fatigue is firmly set in, starting to take over most of us at this point, I would argue. So the goal of this is not necessarily to talk about what is imminent or what will happen, but what very well could, especially when you consider the context. Stephen Jones's words, not just most recently when he teased it's not over yet, right? The article that I published yesterday. We did a think piece on it on here on YouTube yesterday. I had a long Twitter post about it, just trying to obviously engage, but get you guys just thinking outside the box. And I call it my hypothetical sandbox that we're playing in, just seeing what we can come up with regards to the trade back. Okay. But in this particular case here, it's going to be a trade back and a trade up all at the same time. And no, I'm not referencing two separate teams here. I'm referencing one, the Dallas Cowboys. What if I could get you 6 picks on day 2? Double up at either corner, running back, defensive tackle, or receiver if you wanted to. Or just take one of any position that you can possibly think of. I've given you a couple different hypothetical scenarios, but the draft trade chart that I began writing about roughly 2 weeks ago now, probably 3 weeks ago, giving you a couple different samples just from one trade back as for a 2-for-1, solving the Cowboys receiver position and running back position in one smooth stroke, right? Dropping back to 20 with the Denver Broncos in exchange for Cortland Sutton, and then the Cowboys could have the freedom to select whoever they want at 20. Same thing with the Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. Steelers don't have a second-round pick currently, but if you apply the same context that we used, the parallels between DK Metcalf and George Pickens, that math is all done for you. The work is all done. Just tap into yesterday's video, and you'll see that and explain in deep thought. Okay. Assume George Pickens is worth roughly pick 52, which is what the Steelers paid for DK Metcalf, second round pick. Then the Cowboys could solve the receiver position. And once again, Omarion Hampton or whoever they value, whoever falls in their lap at 21, that's the highest graded player on their board, could be an offensive lineman, could be a defensive player. And they get a receiver, a day one ready-made impact player, difference maker to complement CeeDee Lamb. Really a 1B. Most of these receivers in this draft are wide receiver 2s, bona fide, right? I don't know if any of those guys have wide receiver 1 upside, but George Pickens definitely does. He's just got a little bit of character concerns that people seem to be concerned about. And it's for good reason. But like I said, I'm just trying to get you guys to think outside the box. So this one here, Cowboys send pick number 12 to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for a plethora of picks, right? Of course, the math has to be factored in as far as what's fair. Teams can't get ripped off anymore because of, Jimmy's chart, if you will. It's really not Jimmy's chart, but if you've been with me for more than just the last couple weeks or so, you know that Jimmy is the one who's famous for making, who got this, sort of made it famous, but it wasn't necessarily all his doing. And Mike Fisher first broke that report because he was inside the building when it went down. Now, let me pull up this tweet here, just to sort of use that as a guideline for you. Actually, I don't even have that pulled up. Hold on. Give me about 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. This is fun, okay? And this will help you sort of visualize it better as well. Some people are visual learners, and it's hard for you to just process all these picks and numbers that I'm throwing at you. I completely resonate with that. So here we go. Browns receive pick number 12 and the quarterback of their future. Okay, that's what this is all about. The Browns, few teams, if any, have as much top-end draft capital to play with as they do. But also few teams, if any, are more desperate for quarterback stability, all things considered. Not just Deshaun Watson, but well beyond him. Well before they were desperate to go and get his services because they've been trying to solve this problem for a very, very long time. Let's just say, in theory, they have either Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart as the future face of their franchise. Right? Cowboys, completely different circumstance. Right? They're a team that's desperate for difference makers at a few different key positions, not just quarterback. They're not just one position away, but they really do have a highly talented roster, a roster that prior to last year's plethora of injuries causing them to derail their potential fourth season in a row at winning 12 games. This is how you do necessary due diligence, but this is a championship window and a move that satisfies 6 things all with one smooth stroke. And like I said, it eliminates you from being in that position to where you just got to get pick number 12 right, or else everything else that you've done up until this point is doomed. This scenario, okay? Cleveland sends 2025 second round pick, 2025 third round pick, 2025 third round pick again, and a 2025 fourth. And then also on top of that, next year's 3. I forgot to add that into the tweet, so I apologize for that. But I did the math for you as far as where I'm at on that line of thinking. Okay? Where is that math at, actually? Oh, actually, here we go. Let's do it this way. So pick 33 that the Browns would send you in this particular scenario is worth 580 points. The Cowboys' number 12 overall pick is worth 1,200. Okay, we've done this exercise before. You guys should kind of be getting familiar with how we're going about this, just the approach. Okay, so pick 33, the first pick of day 2, round 2, right? 580 points. That's still 620 points short. So they've got to come up with that. They've got to make up ground to make this trade palatable for the Cowboys, right? So pick 33 is worth 580. Pick 67 is worth 255. Pick 94 is worth 124. And pick 104 is worth 86. This actually isn't even live yet, I don't believe, but I'm going to share my screen with you anyways. My guy, the aforementioned Mike Fisher, is in the process of, he's my editor, my managing editor. So all of my spelling and grammatical errors, he helps me. He helps me clean those things up because I'm new in this written world. Okay, so but growing every single day, failing forward, if you will. So add all of those up. 580 plus 255 plus 124 plus 86, and then the future third, which I've got the math or the context here is that the Browns, you assume that they're going to be bad again next year, which would mean that they would be selecting towards the top of the third round. So let's just say roughly 200 points or so. Here's that trade chart. From Draft Tech, which is a really, really useful tool. I love using their tool. You just go down here. You can see drafttech.com. But then all you do is just go to this little bar and then type in your keywords for whichever team you're looking for. So in this case here, we'll go Cleveland. So CLE and then hit submit, and then it just shows it to you where they're at on the board. Oops. There we go. So you can see all the different values for the different picks, right? But round 3, so towards the top, what I was doing. So if Cleveland is anywhere between the top of round 3, like they are this year again, and then all the way, say, to where the Cowboys currently are. So somewhere between the 1st and the 12th pick overall would put them in the 1st and 12th overall selection on day 3 as well. So let's just assume that that's the case, that the Browns are one of the 12 worst teams again. That 3rd round pick in 2026 that they add on top of the haul that they're getting, or that they're sending the Cowboys this year for the 12th overall pick and their, the quarterback of the future, it's going to be worth somewhere between 200 and 255 points. Okay. But I just the safe estimate, I had it right at 200 just for clean numbers. Okay. So you add all those up together and you do end up with a slight overpay that closes the 620 point gap and a little bit more on top of that. I think the number comes out to about 12,100, which is roughly 100 points more than what Cleveland would technically need to get to the Cowboys' 12th overall pick and the quarterback of their future. You want to force them to pay the premium for that particular position because that's just how important it is. And if they're as desperate as a team like the Browns probably is to solve that, so they can get out of this rut that they've been in for God knows how long now, it's worth it to overpay just a little bit to go and get it right. If you think that Jackson Dart is that dude for you, if you think that Shedeur Sanders is that dude for you, you guys get what I'm saying. So instead of just having 2 picks on day 2, like the Cowboys currently do, and then a massive gap between 76 and then their 5th round pick, because remember, they don't have a 4th this year thanks to the trade for the services of Jonathan Mingo. If you want volume and difference making ability, this is the type of move that you make. Hope you guys can still see me on screen. My camera hadn't cut out yet. That's a good sign. Here's just a sample of what that haul could get you. Okay, so between picks 33 and 104, 6 total on day 2. I've given you guys a couple different options. Emeka Ibuka, address that wide receiver position. Check that box. That's your instant plug and play wide receiver 2. Trey Amos, outside corner, 44th overall. Instantly check that outside corner box, and you give Kalen Carson a little bit more time to develop. Kyer Elam, less pressure on him to come from a first-round bust and then under the largest microscope in sports, which is the Dallas Cowboys, right? At a position where you are set up to fail to begin with at corner, right? The offensive rule or the rules in the league just favor offense in general, and it's a reactionary position, so it's very, very difficult to be good and to not have these massive peaks and valleys, especially when you play in an indoor track at home on turf where it favors the receiver as well, footing, and it's a controlled environment. So it's like the quarterback's always got a dry ball to throw. It's a little bit more difficult. But it buys those guys some time, and you get a bona fide stud, a dude that's battle tested a couple different high premium top tier SEC schools, seen all the best competition throughout his college career. Trey Amos, plug and play. Then you get Alfred Collins at 67. That's the 3rd round pick in exchange for pick number 12. This is a guy, by the way, guys, keep in mind, okay? Foots asked this question earlier, and I answered it. He basically said, "Would you prefer A or B?" And it was 3 picks, the first 3 rounds of the draft. He gave you 3 from choice A, 3 from choice B. I chose choice B because choice B consisted of Alfred Collins. Yes, I cover the Texas Longhorns. Yes, I am partial to that program. But that also means that I know a little bit more about Alfred Collins, which means I'm very comfortable saying that this is a guy, not only is he built different, quite literally, 6'6", 330 pounds, but has the ability, the athleticism, the frame with ridiculous length, exceptional arm length, okay, but power to go along with it. He can anchor as a run-stuffing block occupier, but he can also pass rush from at least 3 different positions. He did that at Texas. But Texas got away with many times playing a 3 down front with him just plugging the interior. And then you would have 3 sort of 3-4 ends or 2-3-4 ends opposite him. But it was just basically Alfred Collins in the middle. He can anchor for you, the middle of your defense. if that's what you wanted to do. But he's also got that Chris Jones ability, right? The rare, and by the way, Chris Jones just 310 pounds. So he's got, Alfred Collins has 20 pounds on Chris Jones, but they move the same. They play with the same level of power. It took Alfred Collins all the way up until this past year to figure out, because of his 6'6" frame, hey, pad level, brother. It takes a little bit for you. You got to travel a little bit further south to hold up in the SEC, right? But he made that jump despite jumping significantly in terms of conference competition. Alfred Collins played so well to the point to where Texas didn't even miss the top 2 highest overall graded interior defenders on the defensive line from the year before. 2 should have been first-round picks. One of them was Byron Murphy. The other should have been with Devondre Sweat, if not for a minor off-the-field mishap that dropped his value just a little bit. Alfred Collins made those guys an afterthought, despite jumping conferences into NFL Light, which is the SEC. And he was incredibly disruptive, a problem, alongside Vernon Broughton and others. Then you go and get RJ Harvey at 76, who in my opinion is probably my favorite running back as far as value is concerned, because he's got the same level of upside as somebody like TreVeyon Henderson. But if TreVeyon Henderson really is going round 1, you get a similar level of explosivity, but also power, a guy that can play between the tackles. I think actually RJ Harvey might possess a little bit more ability in that regard. Maybe a slightly less of a pass catcher, but can do that very well too. It's a styles make fights thing. It's a choose your flavor thing. RJ Harvey is one of my favorite flavors because of where you can get him. And I think if it wasn't for the fact that he's about to be 25 years old right now, you would see his name floated up there towards the top of where guys like top of the second round, where guys like Quinshon Judkins are now being pushed. TreVeyon Henderson, Omarion Hampton, if he somehow slides outside of round 1, which there's a lot of chatter about him going in the middle of round 1 as well. So you never know. And then you go in on top of that and you continue to bolster. So I doubled down at defensive tackle. Why? Because I cannot get the Cowboys getting bullied out of my brain. It's ingrained in me, right? I can't forget about that. And so I want to continue to address that physicality, that culture shift that I've been writing about, guys. Don't forget, cowboyscountry.com, Landon Holyfield. Just Google me. I've got all kinds of interesting think pieces similar to this one where I'm taking you guys below the surface and I'm evaluating objectively, but I'm giving you the sports psychology, the all the different elements that are just much less talked about. Okay. Let me take a quick break here. Refuel. Shout out Smoothie King. Not sponsoring me yet, but maybe one day they will. That'd be clutch. And on that note, shout out to the official partner of the Lando Show, Waggle. As you can see here, I'll go ahead and list that. Scan that QR code, get you a 10% discount. Directly supports my golf business, but also just supports you, in, whether it's golf, life, work, or working out. They got something for you. They got something for everybody. I'm telling you guys right now, you scan that code, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Waggle is different. Get your waggleon.com, code HOSL10, but don't worry about the code. Just scan that QR code right there, and the 10% discount is already built into your order. So the second set of names, and we'll just run through these quickly because I do got to get out of here. I'm traveling south for the Easter weekend to go see my sister and her family. Got to go pick up the girls. We closed it out with a nice Peoples, by the way, who was more of a run stuffing interior defensive tackle at 94. And then Danny Stutzman, a rangy, hyper aggressive linebacker that, once again, can develop behind or just add to a highly dynamic room that as it currently stands, assuming that DeMarvin Overshown is able to return to full health. That'd be really fun to watch somebody like Danny Stutzman just roam, fly, and tackle. That's just what he does, man. Really good athlete, really unique size, and really aggressive. Just sometimes doesn't always know what he's seeing. Sometimes doesn't love playing backwards, but that's okay. We can work on that. The shakeup here, I got Maxwell Harrison. Just traits. Lockdown corner, 33 overall. Jaden Higgins at 44, who is I would call him Tedderone McMillan light, and I think that's not a knock on Tet. People may see it as that. It's not disrespectful to Tedderone McMillan at all, especially if you've really studied Jaden Higgins the way that I have. You can see that level of ability. He's just a lesser known name because of the school that he played at, I guess. I don't know. Then at 67, you go Quinshawn Judkins. Double down at corner at 76 with Noah Williams out of Cal. And then once again, Deion Walker, who is played way too many snaps at Kentucky because they didn't have anybody else. You would see loafing at times. He was knocked for that because he would just fatigue and tire out. Early on in games, disruptive. It would be putting it lightly. Okay. Can pass rush, can anchor, unique body type, but gives you some of that physicality, that interior presence so that the Cowboys do not get bullied again when it matters most. And then Baron Sorrell. Go look at what Ben Larimore has been talking about. He and I see eye to eye on this. The Cowboys still need that bookend, like that run setting edge. A guy that, can kind of rotate in with somebody like Marshawn Nealand, who I thought coming out last year was a ready-made run stopper in the NFL. Just really understands setting the edge. That's Baron Sorrell right here. Captain caliber player. Pound for pound, the dude he's built in a lab. But Texas will definitely miss him. That tone setter. That's a physical guy right there. Okay, so in summary, this is the kind of haul that turns a good team into a complete one, right? Cowboys really are looking for 4 starters still, and could certainly stand to upgrade at guard and at left tackle potentially. I love the future. Don't get me wrong. Of Tyler Guyton. I've written about that. I've spoken about that on here in depth. All this stuff I've covered for you guys. But it preserves the flexibility across multiple needs. You can address wide receiver, corner, running back, defensive tackle, linebacker, all addressed without needing and depending on being perfect at 12. Give yourself more darts, more misses. Why? Because this is the most important trait, the trait that you can't measure. If you missed my Dak Prescott rant, please go check that out. It aired this morning. It was a premiere at 9 a.m. And you'll see it. He's featured on the thumbnail alongside Steven and Jerry Jones. Some of my best work yet, I would venture to say. But I don't know. Maybe you guys think differently. Let me know what you think on that front too. 2 franchises, 2 opposite timelines, 1 deal that works for both. And if the Cowboys want to draft pure, as Steven has said, this is the kind of bold and balanced move that makes it all possible. This was a fun one. I hope you guys enjoyed the same. Just insert your favorite combination of 6 guys between picks 33 and 104 here. And you guys tell me what you come up with that you think that you might like better than what I've come up with. There's lots of names I'm scrolling through in that range where I'm like, dang, would love this name here. Dang, would love this. It's on and on and on and on. Right? This is where the value of NFL drafts are. These are the guys that come in and contribute in year 1. In the top 100, you have 6 darts in that range. Difference-making ability. Lots of fun here. It sucks. You lose that 5th year of control. I understand. People are going to say, nope, I don't want to get out of the first round. Some people will tell you, nope, I don't even want to slide past 20. And I get it. Especially if Tet McMillan is there at 12, that's hard to pass up. If Ashton Genty is there at 12, I do not want to move back. But outside of that, I'm pretty comfortable saying that I would love for that to be the case. All right. I got to run. Don't forget to scan that code. Get your wagalon.com. Let me make sure you guys see me real nice and clear. No, stop sharing that. Here we go. The camera didn't cut out today. That's a miracle in itself. Not quite as impressive, not nearly as impressive as the more important miracle, if you will, that we'll celebrate this weekend. Happy Easter, everybody. Remember that you're always forgiven. You're never forsaken. Prayer changes things and the war is already won. I love y'all.